1 year ago in March of 2020, before the world shut down, I was 3 days away from an early screening of Quiet Place Part 2. I was very excited, and then I was very disappointed. 1 year later, the world has completely changed from what it used to be, and we are finally here to talk about this most anticipated sequel of A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place Part 2 stars Emily Blunt, Millie Simmonds, and Cillian Murphy, and follows the events at home. The Abbott family now face the terrors of the outside world. Forced to venture into the unknown, they realize the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats lurking. Returning writer and director John Krasinski, who did do the first film, a movie that everyone I know loves. The first film is seriously one of those horror films. It was different and original, and people just craved it. And when the first one came out, everyone loved it. Like, everyone I know really liked this movie. So for this one to come out finally, I know a lot of people are looking forward to, and I can say this right now, it does not disappoint whatsoever. It completely blew me out of the waters and experiencing how good this sequel is. My biggest praise has to be the direction and the cinematography. John Krasinski makes a beautiful thriller. This is how you make a sequel. When you look at an outline for sequels, put this movie on there, because this movie does exactly what it should do. It brings back our characters. We know our characters. We know who Emily Blunt is. We know who the kids are. We know this situation is going on with How to Be Quiet, the monsters, and we have figured out a way to defeat them. And in this movie, we up the ante. We get excited. We get the popcorn in our mouth, summer blockbuster kind of movie. This is that movie, because all the action scenes are well made. I would say this direction in this movie is completely better than the first one. The first one, to me, is a very, very well-made film. But you can tell that this film, John Krasinski, definitely took some qualities of the first one and just upheld it. And it makes the movie just way more exciting. And it's so good. I mean, the action scenes, the sound design in this movie is outrageously good, and it should be nominated for an Oscar. I will say that. The sound design is that damn good, because in a movie theater, which I got to see it in, this experience of a horror thriller, it puts you in the vibe, and that is due to the making of the technical aspects of the camera, the sound, the direction, and of course our beautiful performances. Emily Blunt, I mean, she's great. We all know that. She is freaking great. But the real standout to this movie, in all honesty, is Millie Simmonds. She steals the whole movie. Like, this honestly has become her franchise now. She is amazing in this movie. And we get the addition of Cillian Murphy, who is very good in this movie. The performances all around are just tremendous, but this movie picks up where the first one left off. But we do get my favorite scene in the movie, the cold open. It's great. The cold open, to me, is my favorite scene, hands down. I loved it. I loved this opening to this movie. It was the perfect opening to a movie I've seen in a very long time. And then once we get into the movie, of course, we get into like, please be quiet, and these monsters and everything. And it's super intense, just like the first one. It's bigger. We get to see more of the world. We get to explore the world. We get to see more of how people are acting, which is our usual, basically, like, Walking Dead vibe. Everyone's basically a dick. Like, everyone's either psychopathic or a dick. Like, that is everyone. And when we get into more of our characters, I will say if my biggest issues with this movie is there is a moment where we have basically 3 miniature stories going on. There's a lot going on. People are splitting up, and we gotta, like, see different places. There is a really good, intense scene in this movie, but it's cut in between another very good, intense scene, which I understand the pacing of the movie, which the pacing is really good for an hour-and-a-half movie, but I really wish we got, like, a full sequence for both sequences. Like, I wish we got full sequences, but for the pacing, everything, it was going very well, cutting them together. I completely understand them doing that. Now, that all said, another issue I have with this movie is we get to meet new people. That's all I'm gonna say, but not for very long, and I feel like we definitely needed a few more minutes with these new people, because something happens to where intensity happens, and I just felt like there was no development whatsoever for this certain location. I was like, oh, okay, so moving on from it basically. But besides those little gripes, this is one of the best sequels made in a very long time. John Krasinski, I cannot wait to see what you do next. I hope this is not the last one in this series. I need a third one. Again, no spoilers, but when this movie ended, all I thought was, please make a third one. I'm gonna give A Quiet Place Part 2 an A-. I'm gonna have to rewatch this movie again to fully tell you if I like this one more than the first one, but I definitely can say this. The first one blended horror with heart so well. This one, I would say it does have dramatic moments, but it's morely action, horror, jumping more of like the intensity of the monsters, which is fine. We needed to explore the world. I'm fine with that, and they did it in the best way possible. But either way, I'm gonna watch it again, and maybe one day I'll tell you if it's better than the first one. But right now, both these movies are perfect. Go out to a theater if you feel safe, and go see this in a movie theater screen. It's the only way to see it. I'm telling you, this way of watching a movie theater, you gotta go watch this in a theater. Anyway, guys enjoy this movie review, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.